Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Flash Season 7 review series, and today I am going to be talking about Episode 17, Heart of the Matter Part 1, which I've just finished watching, and this officially marks the show's 150th episode, and I still remember like it was yesterday when the pilot was first released, and here we are almost 7 years and 150 episodes later. What an achievement, what a milestone, and many congratulations to the show for achieving this landmark moment. And for me, I still remember when Grant Gustin appeared in Arrow Season 2 as Barry Allen for 2 episodes, which served as a backdoor to The Flash's own spin-off show, and I was just hooked from the pilot, and I've been a huge fan of the show. Obviously, I enjoyed the earlier seasons from seasons 1 to 3, but there's been some good episodes, there's been some weak episodes, but by and large, this has been a fantastic show, and I've seen every single episode. I own every single season on DVD, and it's just been an amazing ride to watch the show start out as an Arrow spin-off show, and now it's grown to become its own thing. It's just been absolutely incredible. So we're going to do a quick recap of what's happened so far, and then we're going to get straight into talking about episode 17. So, as we've seen Godspeed is going around on a rampage, and we've seen like an army of Godspeeds engaged in a civil war, so to speak. So Barry and Team Flash are now caught up in this civil war with the Godspeed's clones, and as we saw at the very end of episode 16, we saw Nora Allen, aka XS, and we saw the debut of Bart Allen, aka The Flash, making his first appearance in the Arrowverse, and wow, Jordan Fisher for those few seconds was just absolutely fantastic as Impulse. I've been a huge fan of Bart Allen for many years, and to finally see the proper Bart Allen make his Arrowverse debut in the show was just a real breath of fresh air, and it was definitely worth the wait. And as far as this episode was concerned, Impulse was just dynamite. He was fun, he was cocky, he was a badass, you name it. Impulse was everything that I wanted to see in a speedster and more. And I was telling my friend earlier, why couldn't Wally West, aka Kid Flash, been like this? Because anybody who knows Wally West from the Justice League cartoons or from the comic books, he's exactly like that. He's a big goofball, and Impulse was exactly that and more, and I just loved it. He owned this episode as far as I'm concerned. It was also great to see John Wesley Shipp back as Jay Garrick. It was great to see Carlos Valdez back as Cisco, because I knew he would come back. Come on, it's the 150th episode of the show. Got to pull out all the stops, got to bring out all your big guns, and it was great to see virtually almost everybody back. There was a couple of people that I missed on the show, like Tom Cavanagh, aka Harrison Wells. Would have still liked to have seen him on the show. We still might yet, but this was a lot of fun, and this episode was absolutely brilliant, and it definitely felt like the Flash of old, like the earlier seasons that I know and love, and this was just absolutely a real treat to watch. So, with that all said, let's get straight into it. Let's talk about episode 17, Heart of the Matter, Part 1, and before I get started, I only just realised this now. We are now one more episode left, and this show's finished. Season 7 is officially wrapped up. I knew the show was coming to an end, but I didn't think it was going to be that soon. So, in a way, this episode is like a 2-part season finale. Unbelievable. Just shows you how much time has flown by. So, let's get back on track. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about episode 17, Heart of the Matter, Part 1. So this episode opens up in Central City in 2049 with Godspeed nearing his goal of infinite velocity when Excess stops him. However, he quickly recovers and prepares to attack her when we see Impulse runs in and phases through him, bringing Godspeed down. Excess tells him off for what she sees as reckless behaviour, and while they disagree, Godspeed phases through the street floor and heads to the Flash Museum. There he uses the cosmic treadmill to escape, and Excess and Impulse follow him, which kind of leads into what we saw at the end of the last episode. In the present at Star Labs, Bart and Nora gets Barry up to speed about August having no memory, and there are hundreds of clones. The kids are also get to meet past versions of various people in their lives. Nora tells them that she and Bart can't really stay because it's against the Allen family rules, but Barry explains that there's no way right now to get the Godspeeds back in the Speed Force, and Chester tells everyone that he's come up with a plan to stop the Godspeeds using the device his father was working on, which is the solar encryption engine. He just needs Allegra to charge it. Barry spends time with the kids, and Nora explains that she knows about the other Nora, that she is not the same Nora that we met previously, but while they're talking they get an alert about Godspeeds. Barry, Bart and Nora head out to deal with them. However, when the Godspeeds realise they are there, they all end up following Impulse only, referring to him as Kill the Adversary. They are almost successful, but they have to leave to recharge before they can finish the job. Bart and Nora are keeping secrets, and back at Star Labs, Bart reveals that Godspeed is his form. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Barry goes into the time vaults to try and get additional help, but Wally is unavailable. Iris shows up. Dion, having stabilised her, is able to take back her proper form. She already knows about the kids, having seen it all from the Steel Force. They both realise that if Godspeed is Bart's form, the situation is far more serious than they realise. Meanwhile, in Keystone City, Jay Garrick has his speed back thanks to the restoration of the Speed Force. He is planning to head to Central City to help Barry. His wife Joan reminds him to be careful, and before he leaves, he is attacked and ambushed by Godspeeds. Barry and Iris tell Bart they are benching him because of the threats Godspeeds pose to him personally and how impulsively he acts. Nora backs their play and he races off, upset. She goes to speak with him. She finds him at the West House, and it's revealed that in their time, Godspeed killed their Uncle Jay right in front of him, and Jay was the person who really understood him and his impulsiveness. Bart wants to tell their parents, but Nora says no. So, just like Eobard Thawne murdered Barry's mother many years ago when he was a child, Godspeed killed Jay Garrick in Bart's future. So, very interesting dynamic here. Very interesting. Chester approaches Allegra for help, but she's not acting like herself. She's also unable to charge the device. Barry has to do it in a pinch as the Godspeeds are back. It's later revealed that Allegra's powers are issues connected to her emotions. She's blasting ultraviolet light as she is channeling in negative emotions. Allegra tells Chester that Esperanza is dead and she blames herself. With the Godspeed clones back, Barry and Nora get the SEE out in the field and lead the clones to it. They activate the device and it works initially, but the clones suddenly repower and attack them. Frost shows up in the nick of time to save them both, and it turns out that Barry's energy was too much to charge the SEE, and it ended up giving the clones a mega dose of Speed Force energy. They realise they need more help, and Bart shows up ready to be tagged in, but Barry and Iris are benching both of their children. Barry and Iris talk about how tragedy seems to follow them everywhere and how they need to break the cycle by stopping the clones and preventing August from getting his powers. Then they get a message from the rebel Godspeeds demanding that they hand over the adversary or else they will kill Jay Garrick. Bart tells Barry they don't have time to come up with a plan. Bart goes to where they are and it's a trap. Barry and Nora go to save him, and when they arrive, Bart is being attacked as the Godspeeds take his speed. Nora creates a distraction and Barry uses Bart's phasing trick to stop the primary Godspeed clone. Bart isn't responding, and before they can escape, the Godspeeds circle them. However, Cisco shows up, my man, right on time, and is able to temporarily stop them so they can get out of there. In Midway City, Kramer speaks with the FBI about Adam but does not reveal the parts where he said that the real Kristen Kramer died. Joe finds that very suspicious. On the way back to Central City, Joe presses Kramer about what Adam said about seeing her die, but she doesn't really answer him. They see that everyone is trying to leave Central City and are nearly in an accident when a pair of fighting Godspeeds jump on top of their rooftop and start fighting while they're in the car. We then see, having no luck with restoring August's memories, Caitlin and Camille try to jog his memory by having him look back at things like the treadmill. He gets a zap of power but no memory. He's frustrated, worried that he doesn't remember anything. Bart is still in bad shape. His speed healing is just barely keeping him alive. Barry suggests that they go into August's mind to try and get the answers they need to stop the clones. Cisco and Frost will protect Central City while he goes inside August's mind. Once Barry gets inside his head, he finds the real August. Turns out he's been waiting for him and he says he has all the answers. And then in a menacing voice, he says this is going to be so much fun. And that's how we end part 1 of this episode, and that wraps up my review. Overall, this was an excellent episode, and this was a lot of fun. And for me, the highlight of this episode was Bart Allen, aka Impulse. He was so much fun to watch. He was a real breath of fresh air, and as I mentioned at the very beginning, he was everything that I wanted in a speedster and more. And all due respect to everybody else, but for me, Jordan Fisher was the real standout of this episode. And boy oh boy, what a 150th episode this was. So that's going to be it from me. I am going to wrap this up now. What did you think of this episode? Did you enjoy it? What were your first impressions of Impulse? Do you think this was a good debut for him in the Arrowverse? And if so, would you like to see more of him and maybe have his own spin-off series? And also, what was your thoughts on Barry Allen going into August's mind? Do you think he'll be able to get the answers that he needs? And also, how do you think Team Flash are going to defeat the Godspeeds? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will see all of you next time for the final edition of the Flash Season 7 review series, where I am going to be talking about Episode 18, Heart of the Matter Part 2. So that should be a really good one, and I'm really looking forward to that, especially with the way Part 1 ended. So until next time, take care everybody and stay safe, and once again thanks for listening. And one final thing that I would like to say before we wrap things up is many congratulations to the show for achieving its 150th milestone. Keep up the good work, guys. You absolutely rock.